Hey everyone, it has been literally years since I've done a what I eat in a day video, but I've been really inspired lately by my garden and I've been meaning to do this. I don't know how time is flying by so fast. I'm sure you can relate. Let me know if you can, but I can't believe it's already. I'm recording this in July and whew, anyway, I've been really inspired by my garden and I want to share with you some of the simple things I'm making with summer produce. It's been really hot in Sacramento, about 111 degrees. I think that's somewhere around 43 degrees Celsius. You'll have to let me know if you're good with these things off the top of your head. So my garden is thriving. I've got a lot of cucumbers, peppers, and tomatoes, and oh, definitely zucchini. Zucchini's falling out of my ears. And I'm gonna show you what I eat with all of this good produce. Also, I'm trying to prevent or just cut down on my food waste, and these stems, although they can be a little bit bitter, they are totally edible and nutritious, so I'm going to keep those in. I would have normally added one whole banana, but there's an extra half in there, so that would probably sweeten out the bitterness of this. I'll let you know how it goes though. This is what's going into my smoothie. I've got some frozen banana. This looks to be about 1.5 bananas that have been frozen. Who knows how long they've been in my freezer, but they look good still. And if you're ever having some spotted or very brown bananas, you can just slice them up and throw them in here. I actually just did a how to freeze bananas to last the longest article. I'll drop that below. And then this is some of the kale from my garden. I had a coupon for this milk, Good Karma flax milk. And I usually put flax seeds, but I'm thinking I don't really need flax seeds since I've got my flax milk. I got that from Sprouts, and they had a coupon in their app. So I used it, and I'm just gonna throw that in there. It's super easy. There's a recipe for this style of smoothie on plantbasedonabudget.com, so I'll link that below too. It is perfect. It tastes just like a milkshake. And if you want it to be even sweeter, you can add in a little bit more ripe banana, or you can just add a drop of agave nectar and it'll be very sweet, almost dessert-like. I bet you could even fool your little ones. I know that I'm very satisfied right now, and this is only breakfast. I also wanted to mention that this recipe is really customizable. You can use spinach instead of kale. You can add in some oats to make it a little bit heartier. You can add in some protein powder. You can use whichever milk you have on hand. And also, if you don't have a high-powered blender, I didn't have a high-powered blender for a really long time, and if you watch some of my old videos, I might have been using at that time my 1950s blender, which was still really powerful, but it was very old school. I think it was like an Oster blender, and it was very old, like decades and decades old. And what I would do first was put the kale in with the plant-based milk and then blend it until it turned into a green milk, and then put the banana in there so that the kale could be really broken up and you can get this green color and not chunks of kale. I am back and I'm having a snack. I am eating some of these walnuts. There we go. And it's nothing fancy. I thought of actually making something exciting and unique for you, but I don't have a lot of time right now, so I'm just gonna have a handful of walnuts, and I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you some peaches I'm about to eat as well. I picked these from my tree yesterday and they're really good. They're called Red Baron peaches and they're from the Dave Wilson Nursery. Actually, I bought the tree from a local nursery called Green Acres, but the growers are Dave Wilson's nursery and they're really, really tasty. I don't have a lot of time to eat them all. I think I probably have maybe a few days, but they'll go in the refrigerator and we'll eat them no problem. They're very juicy and I'll take a bite and show you. You can see the inside. It's super juicy. I am back for lunch and I'm gonna do a leftover vegetable soup from last night's dinner and I'll show you what it looks like and give a little bit of a give some brief instructions, and then I'm gonna flip the camera around right now and show you a simple bean salad that I'm going to make for lunch. These are tomatoes from my garden. These are called yellow pear. These are sun golds that I grew from seed because they're not a true seed. They also were cross-pollinated, and grew some red tomatoes. These are really sweet. I'm not sure the variety, but they grew on the same plant as my sun golds. These are just some beans that I'll drain and rinse, some cilantro, half of a lemon, and an avocado. And I'm gonna do a quick bean salad to accompany my leftover bowl of soup and show you what this all looks like. You are now propped up on my doggy's bed. His name is Eddie. I love him so much. I got him during the pandemic, and for those of you who don't already know this, we got him from a shelter that was closing down in Sacramento, and they needed to get homes for 100 dogs in 24 hours, and I was already on the foster list, so they called me and I was fostering Eddie with my husband for like no time before we realized he was absolutely perfect and we needed to have him forever and ever and ever in our home, and he's just been the best companion and we're totally inseparable. He's sunbathing. I'll walk you over to... Anyway, I have lunch ready. It's really pretty. I'll flip the camera around and show you, but I wanted to do something that was cheap and easy and that had some of my garden vegetables or fruits. In this example, I'm using the cherry tomatoes. I have lots of different varieties, and an avocado, a can of beans, lemon juice, and cilantro. As I mentioned, really easy, really customizable. I make this all the time, especially for big groups, because it's fast and I don't have to do any actual cooking. I just do a lot of dumping, and it's a favorite by everyone, vegans and non-vegans alike, and it's refreshing and nutritious. All right, we've got some brown rice in the pressure cooker. For the pressure cooker, I put in 1 cup of brown rice and 1.5 cups of water, and I'm setting it on high pressure using the manual one, and I'm setting it for 20 minutes, and I'll do a quick release when it's done, and I'll make sure to show what that looks like. I grew this onion and I am so excited about it. It was my first year ever growing onion and I'm really proud of how it turned out. While the rice is cooking, I'm gonna start my vegetables. Right here we have some zucchini. This is called calabacitas. That is the type of squash that this is. It's a Mexican gray squash that's really tasty. I let it grow a little bit too big, so you can see that I had to cut some without some skin, but yum to that. This is orange bell pepper that I grew. It did not do as well as I would have liked to do. I grew this from seed. I grew this from a plant that I purchased, and I would not do it again because it did not grow very well. I think I've only received maybe 4 bell peppers this season. Meanwhile, I've had like 20 squash. And then this is the onion that I showed you earlier. I'm going to saute them in here in just a sec. Usually I would start off the onion first with some garlic and then the peppers and then the zucchini, but I'm in a hurry, so I threw everything in at the same time. I am hungry and my husband is on his way home from work, and I usually love to have our quality time right when he comes home. we eat together, unplugged, and catch up on our day. And we usually eat whatever I made for work that day, which today is this. I just put the lid on, as you can see, and I'm lowering the heat a little bit, and I'm gonna let this hang out for another 3 or 4 minutes, and I'll show you what it looks like then. All right, so that's what that looks like after a few minutes, and I'm going to put in this tofu and saute it up with these vegetables. I have the heat on medium, and I'm sauteing it for a second like this, stirring, and then I'm gonna let it sit for a couple minutes and flip it over so that the tofu has a chance to brown on one side. And at the end, I'll probably put in some soy sauce or something like that. But there you have it so far. And this is extra firm tofu. That is my favorite. I put in a little bit of soy sauce, and that's what it's looking like. I'll let it cook for a few more minutes. I've got the pressure releasing in my brown rice, and dinner is almost ready to be served. Here is what we're having for dinner. I grew all those vegetables, and that's extra firm tofu, brown rice. Here you have it. Hope you enjoyed that What I Eat in a Day video. I feel a little rusty doing this, so thanks for sticking it out with me. I hope to do more in the future. If you would like to continue seeing them, please let me know in the comments, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Bye.